right, hang on, listen up. So, um, yeah, all right, we're on chapter 19. So, classity class. Have your tuck book out ready to follow along. Jason, I'm not going to tell you again. Tuck book out, ready to follow along. Okay. All right, guys, we're on chapter 19. Get excited. Right when we left off yesterday, the man in the yellow suit had just shown up at the Tuck's house.
May I come in?
May I come in? A little ominous sounding. Okay, here we go.
And I know you're the Tuck, stuff like that.
He knows, yeah, he said, I know you're the Tucks. Can I come in? All right. The man in the yellow suit came into the sunlit parlor. He stood for a moment looking around at them all. May and Miles, Jessie and Tuck, and Winnie, too. His face was without expression, but there was something unpleasant behind it that Winnie sensed at once. Something that made her instantly suspicious. And yet his voice was mild when he said, "You're safe now, Winifred. I'm going to take you home." "We was going to bring her back directly ourselves," said Tuck, standing up slowly. "She ain't been in no danger." "You're Mr. Tuck, I suppose," said the man in the yellow suit. "I am," said Tuck formally, his back straighter than usual. "Well, you may as well sit down again. You too, Mrs. Tuck. I have a great deal to say and very little time for saying it." May sat down on the edge of the rocker, and Tuck sat too, but his eyes were narrowed. Jessie said uneasily, "Who in tarnation do you think you—" But Tuck interrupted. "Hush, boy. Let him speak his piece." "That's wise," said the man in the yellow suit. "I'll be as brief as possible." He took off his hat and laid it on the mantel, and then he stood, tapping his foot on the littered hearth facing them. His face was smooth and empty. "Osborne West is here," he began, "and all the time I was growing up, my grandmother told me stories. They were wild, unbelievable stories, but I believed them. They involved a dear friend of my grandmother's who married into a very odd family. Married the older of two sons." Sean, what? Come on, Sean, tell me. What?
What's his name? Miles? No.
Miles, yes.
And his wife.
Okay, we're talking about Miles and this. So the man in the yellow suit's grandmother's friend is Miles's wife. This is how he knows about them. Okay. Yay! A connection is made. Okay. All right. They were wild. Okay, I was born. They told me stories, wild, unbelievable stories, but I believed them. Dear friend of my grandmother's, who married into a very odd family, married the older of two sons, and they had two children. It was after the children were born that she began to see that the family was odd. This friend of my grandmother's, she lived with her husband for 20 years, and strange to say, he never got any older. She did, but he didn't, and neither did his mother or his father or his brother. People began to wonder about the family, and my grandmother's friend decided at last that they were witches or worse. She left her husband and came with her children to live at my grandmother's house for a short while. Then she moved west. I don't know what became of her, but my mother still remembers playing with the children. They were all about the same age. There was a son and a daughter. "Anna," whispered Miles. May burst out, "You got no call to come and bring us pain." And Tuck added roughly, "You got something to say, you better come to the point and say it." There now," said the man in the yellow suit. He spread his long white fingers in a soothing gesture. "Hear me out. As I've told you, I was fascinated by my grandmother's stories. People who never grew older. It's fantastic. It took possession of me. I decided to devote my life to finding out if it could be true, and if so, how and why. I went to school. I went to a university. I studied philosophy, metaphysics, even a little medicine. None of it did me any good. Oh, there were ancient legends, but nothing more. I nearly gave it up. It began to seem ridiculous and a waste of time. I went home. My grandmother was very old by then. I took her a present one day, a music box. And when I gave it to her, it reminded her of something. The woman, the mother of the family that didn't grow old, she had a music box. May's hand went to the pocket of her skirt. Her mouth opened and then she shut it again with a snap. That music box played a very particular tune. The man in the yellow suit went on. My grandmother's friend and her children, Anna, was that the daughter's name? They'd heard it so often that they knew it by heart. They taught it to my mother during the short time they lived in the house. We talked about it then, all those years afterward. My mother was able to remember the melody finally. She taught it to me. That was nearly 20 years ago now, but I kept it in my head. It was a clue. Hello. I do. Okay. Is he, okay, is this going to be an extended thing or? Okay. Okay, sounds good, thanks. Bye. Okay, hang on. You, talk book, science book, social studies book, Chromebook, all in a pile. Lou's coming to get you.
Why?
Don't know. But they said take everything. Do you have your charger?
I'm pretty sure I should have
Like everything. Hang on, guys. Why don't you go? You don't have a social studies book, so all right. So science book. If you end up joining us online, you're gonna get that.
What?
That. Okay. There you go. Yep. Grab a charger. All right. Jason, hang on. Let me write down the login times for you. You know the login times. No, you don't, because you weren't with me on green before. All right, hang on.
It should be on my way.
You're not on the other sheet. Okay, hang on.
Then how am I going to get the activities?
I'll share them with you. Science.
I wonder why.
I don't know, but and 115 social studies meet.google.com.
Wait, so this.
All right, so these are the times that we're gonna log in. I'll have to send you the recording for today for the rest of the day. Okay. And then I'll send you everything online that you need to fill out. Okay. Worksheets and stuff like we used to do. Thank you, Lily, for waiting patiently and quietly. Thank you, you guys, for being patient. Sorry. Okay. All right, I have no idea where I was. Okay, she remembered the melody finally. She taught it to me. That was nearly 20 years ago now, but I kept it in my head. It was a clue. The man in the yellow suit folded his arms and rocked a little. His voice was easy, almost friendly. All right, we'll see you later, Jason.
Don't forget your ring.
Wait, did you want your pumpkin ring?
What page is it on?
I don't know. What page are we on?
We are on 46.
46, okay. During those 20 years, he said, I worked at other things, but I couldn't forget the tune or the family that didn't grow older. They haunted my dreams. So a few months ago, I left my home and I started out to look for them, following the route that they said to have taken when they left their farm. No one I asked along the way knew anything. No one had heard of them. No one recognized their name. But 2 evenings ago, I heard that music box. I heard that very tune, and it was coming from the Foster's wood. And next morning early, I saw the family at last, taking Winifred away. I followed and I heard their story, every word. May's face drained of color. Her mouth hung open, and Tuck said hoarsely, what you gonna do? The man in the yellow suit smiled. The Fosters have given me the wood, he said, in exchange for bringing Winifred home. as the only one who knew where she was, you see, so it was a trade. Yes, I followed you, Mrs. Tuck, and then I took your horse and went directly back. The tension in the parlor was immense, which means a lot, heavy. Winnie found that she could scarcely breathe. It was true then, or was the man who stood there crazy too? Horse thief, cried Tuck. Get to the point. What you gonna do? It's very simple, said the man in the yellow suit. And as he said this, the smoothness of his face began to loosen a little. A faint flush crept up his neck, and the pitch of his voice lifted, became a fraction higher. Like all magnificent things, it's very simple. The wood and the spring belong to me now. He patted his breast pocket. I have a paper here, all signed and legal to prove it. And I'm going to sell the water, you see. You can't do that, roared Tuck. You've got to be out of your mind. The man in the yellow suit frowned. But I'm not going to sell it to just anybody, he protested. Only to certain people who deserve it. And it will be very, very expensive. But who wouldn't give a fortune to live forever? I wouldn't, said Tuck grimly. Hang on, pause right there. He says he's only going to sell it to people who deserve it. Does he have any right to decide who deserves to live?
No, but maybe there's homeless people around that need the water.
Okay, so maybe people like sick people maybe that need the water to help save them. Do you think he's going to do it for this noble cause though, to give it to like sick people?
No.
No, because he said it's going to be very, very expensive, right? He's greedy.
Rich people.
Rich people because he just wants to make
Money.
right? Money, 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 money. Kaylin, yes, ma'am. Unmute.
I think no one's going to buy it because it's too expensive and like, I don't know.
Do you
Too
think
expensive.
anybody would believe him?
No.
Right, people are going to think it's a ripoff, okay? All right, let's keep going.
Like that.
Okay,
Really quick. I think
Yeah.
that they will mostly because it just looks like dirty dirt water that he's selling
okay.
just to like fake it and say, "Oh, this will make you live forever." No one will believe him and no one will buy it.
Yeah.
He could
I
sell
don't
it
know
to the
why he's leaving it,
foster.
just in case. Okay, possibly, Josie, you're right. Okay, all right. Zeke,
I think, what if he, like, took the nuts and, like, I don't know, like, threatened them or something to, like, say that they want, like, he.
okay, so he's going to threaten the Tucks to, like, prove that it's true?
Well, how would he threaten them? He's already got shot by a shotgun. Yeah, he can't threaten them because they will never die. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's figure this out. Let's see what's going to happen.
That's how
Because I think Zeke's onto something here, but let's see. Okay.
What he
All right.
say?
All right, Zeke said, sorry, I forgot you couldn't hear him. Zeke said that he thinks that the man in the yellow suit is going to try and get the Tucks to like perform or whatever to prove that the water works. So we know, and he heard them tell Winnie that they tried to kill themselves and they accidentally almost all of them could have died at some point. Miles fell out of the tree on his head, Tuck shot himself. May said she cut her hand real bad.
And then, what did Miles do? I don't think he hurt himself.
Yeah, so like all of them could have died at one point or another and didn't. So he knows that maybe he could like almost make like a circus act out of it and like kill them in front of people that they don't die to prove that the water's good. And then he would be able to charge them $bazillion and make a ton of money. Okay, let's keep going. I wouldn't give a fortune to live forever, said Tuck grimly. Exactly, said the man in the yellow suit, his eyes glowed. Ignorant people like you should never have the opportunity. It should be kept for certain others and for me. However, since it's already too late to keep you out, you may as well join me in what I'm going to do. You can show me where the spring is and help me to advertise. We'll set up demonstrations. You know, things that would be fatal to anybody else but won't affect you in the least. I'll pay for your assistance, of course. It won't take long for the word to spread, and then you can go on your way. Well, what do you say? Jesse said dully, freaks. You want us to be freaks in a medicine show. The man in the yellow suit raised his eyebrows and a nervous petulance came into his voice. Of course. If the idea doesn't appeal to you, said Blinky rapidly, you needn't be in on it. I can find the spring and manage just as well without you. But it seemed a gentlemanly thing to make the offer. After all, he added, looking around the cluttered room, it would mean you could afford to live like people again instead of pigs.
Oh, that's just rude.
He is like insulting them like crazy. He called them ignorant. They didn't deserve to live forever. He's called them, telling them they're living like pigs. Sam,
I'm surprised he's not dead yet. Yeah.
you're surprised that they haven't just like whooped the man in the yellow suit yet?
I would have shot him already. Yeah,
Sam would have shot the man in the yellow suit already for just being a jerk. Okay? Don't go to Sam's house and make him mad. This is what I'm learning.
Well, that's what my dad does. I go to Sam's
Maggie, don't go to Maggie's house either. Her dad will shoot you too. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, Sophie.
Maybe it's just they found the spring, they don't have to give it away because they found it.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Instead, live like people instead of pigs. And that was when the tension burst. All four Tucks sprang to their feet at once, while Winnie, very frightened, shrank back in her chair. Tuck cried, "You're a madman, a loony. You can't let no one know about that water. Do you see what would happen?"
Grab your shotgun.
"I've given you your chance," shrilled the man in the yellow suit, "and you've refused it." He seized Winnie roughly by the arm and dragged her up out of her chair. "I'll take the child and be on about my business." Tuck began to rave now, his face stretched with horror. "Madman!" he shouted, and Miles and Jessie began to shout too. They crowded after as the man in the yellow suit dragged Winnie through the kitchen to the door. "No!" she was screaming, for now at last she hated him. "I won't go with you, I won't!" But he opened the door and pushed her out in front of him. His eyes were like blind fire points, his face was twisted. Then the shouting behind them stopped abruptly, and in the midst of a sudden silence came May's voice, flat and cold. "You leave that child be," she said. Winnie stared. May was standing just outside the doorway. She held Tuck's long-forgotten shotgun by the barrel like a club. The man in the yellow suit smiled a ghastly smile. "I can't think why you're so upset. Did you really believe you could keep that water for yourselves? Your selfishness is really quite extraordinary, and worse than that, you're stupid. You could have done what I'm about to do long ago. Now it's too late. Once Winifred drinks some of the water, she'll do just as well for my demonstrations, even better. Children are much more appealing anyway, so you may as well relax. There's nothing you can do to stop me." So if the Tucks don't do the performances, he's going to make Winnie drink the water and do the performance.
If I was Winnie, I'd punch him in the face.
I'll fight him.
"There's nothing you can do to stop me," he says, but he was wrong. May lifted the shotgun. Behind her, Miles gasped, "Ma, no!" But May's face was dark red. "Not Winnie," she said between clenched teeth. "You ain't going to do a thing like that to Winnie, and you ain't going to give out the secret." Her strong arms swung the shotgun round her head like a wheel. The man in the yellow suit jerked away, but it was too late. With a dull, cracking sound, the stock of the shotgun smashed into the back of his skull. He dropped like a tree, his face surprised, his eyes wide open, and at that very moment, riding through the pine trees just in time to see it all, came the Tree Gap Constable.
This isn't.
I told you things were going to go down today.
Oh,
right. You got one more chance.
dancing. That's so bad.
All right. Okay,
That's messed up.
here we go. Chapter 20.
So he didn't shoot her. I mean, she didn't shoot her. She hit him in the head with the gun. And Parker has something really good to say.
He was on private property, wasn't he?
He was.
on
Okay, so Parker says, now she didn't shoot him. She took the shotgun and she whacked him right upside the head with it. Like just flung it right into his head.
That's what I would do.
And he fell to the ground. It says it cracked his skull. Now, Parker says, well, but he was trespassing on private property. Nowadays, if there's a bad guy in your house, in your yard, and you do something to them, like you have like probable cause, like, I mean, I think you're still in trouble. Like there's an investigation. Like, you might go to jail that day, but you'll eventually be okay
I'll tell you what
because you're just defending your family and your property.
What? You get.
Okay. All right, Maggie can tell us what happens. Okay.
So my brothers, they were down in the woods one day, and they kind of crossed the line, and we just had an officer that just came down and talked to them. And there was a person that was hunting on our property, and she said, "Get off my property." I'm like, and I went up to my dad and said, she's on that property hunting. And my dad said, so we're just gonna have to put barbed wire or something like that up to mark out property. So
Maggie said somebody was trespassing on their land, and so they put up barbed wire to keep them out.
yeah, we're gonna do that. And
Ridiculous.
so my dad's gonna have to keep something down there.
All right, let's go.
Keep the
Chapter
security
20.
alarm.
You guys want to chat or you want to read?
Read.
All right, I figured. All right, chapter 20. Winnie was standing with her cheek pressed into Tuck's chest, her arms flung tight around him. She trembled and she kept her eyes squeezed shut. She could feel Tuck's breath come and go in little gasps. It was very quiet. The tree gap constable knelt over the sprawled body of the man in the yellow suit, and then he said, he ain't dead, leastways not yet. Winnie opened her eyes a crack. She could see the shotgun lying on the grass where May had dropped it. She could see May's hands, too, hanging limp, clenching, then hanging limp again. The sun was scorching hot, and near her ear a gnat whined. The constable stood up. What did you hit him for? He wheezed resentfully. He was taking the child away, said May. Her voice was dull and exhausted. He was taking the child against her will. At this, the constable exploded. Dang it, woman, what are you trying to say? Taking that child against her will? That's what you done. You kidnapped the child. Winnie let go of Tuck's waist and turned around. Her trembling had stopped. They didn't kidnap me, she said. I came because I wanted to. Behind her, Tuck drew in his breath sharply. You wanted to? Echoed the constable, his eyes wide with disbelief. You wanted to. That's right, said Winnie unflinchingly. They're my friends. The constable stared at her. He scratched his chin, eyebrows high, and eased his own shotgun to the ground. Then he shrugged and looked down at the man in the yellow suit, who lay motionless on the ground, the blazing sun white on his face and hands. His eyes were closed now, but except for that, he looked more than ever like a marionette. A marionette swung carelessly into a corner, arms and legs, whichever thing amidst the string. He had no marionette, one of those like dolls on a string, like that kind of thing. Okay. And so he's laying in this really like creepy way that it kind of looks like.
I can't wait to see the movie.
Jason, you missed so much.
I know. He'll have. Oh, you're back on. Hey,
Hi.
Jason, you're definitely gonna want to like go back and read.
Yes, because it got.
The man in the yellow suit like threatened to take Winnie, and he grabbed. You guys stop. He grabbed Winnie and tried to drag Winnie out of the house, and Mo took a shotgun and whacked him in the head to try and kill him. And then the constable came up and saw him like passed out on the ground. So, all right, here we go.
Miss Bab,
What?
if Winnie woke up and if he woke up and said, "My donut," that would be funny.
All right, hang on. Okay. Okay, so he looked like a marionette laying there all unnatural and creepy. Okay, the one glance she gave him fixed his appearance forever in Winnie's mind. She turned her eyes away quickly, looking to Tuck for relief. But Tuck was not looking back at her. Instead, he was gazing at the body on the ground, leaning forward slightly, his brows drawn down, his mouth open a little. It was like as he was entranced, and yes, envious, like a starving man looking through a window at a banquet. Why would Tuck look at the almost dead yellow man? Like he was envious of him.
Dead.
Because he can't ever die. Okay? He's jealous because he doesn't ever get to die. Well, if he doesn't, I mean, murder's probably a bad thing.
Like,
But-
whoa, that's what happens?
he's jealous, right? Because he doesn't get to. Okay? Winnie could not bear to see Tuck like that. She reached out a hand and touched him, and it broke the spell. He blinked and took her hand, squeezing it. Well, anyway, said the constable at last, turning business like, I gotta take charge here. Get this fella into the house before he fries. I'm telling you now, if he don't make it, you're in a pickle, you people. Now, here's what we'll do, he said, pointing at May. You gotta come with me, you and the little girl. You gotta be locked up right away, and the little girl, I gotta get her home. The rest of you, you stay here. Look after her. I'll get back with the doctor quick as I can.
Just throw him in the lake.
Should have brought a deputy, but I didn't expect nothing like this to happen. Well, it's too late now. All right, let's get moving. Miles said softly, Ma, we'll get you out right away. Sure, Ma, said Jessie. Don't worry about me none, said May in the same exhausted voice. I'll make out. Make out, exclaimed the constable. You people beat all. If this fellow dies, you'll get the gallows. That's what you'll get. if that's what you can make out. Tuck's face crumpled. The gallows, he whispered. Hanging? That's it, said the constable. That's the law. Now let's get going. What's going to happen if they try and hang May?
She's gonna keep
She's gonna keep
She won't
moving.
die. So then what happens?
Well,
So then we're
unless
gonna
the
wonder-
water waves wears
One
off.
try,
The water doesn't wear off.
One try, let's.
Everyone will know their secret.
Everyone's going to know the secret. If they give May the gallows, she's not going to die.
And they're
Everyone's going to know the secret.
And they're just gonna wonder what's wrong.
Can't she just stop breathing if she wants to?
Miss Bab, I have a question.
Yeah, question, Josie.
Because she's not
How
gonna be
could
able
she
to
still live if her head was cut off?
Hey, gallows is just hanging. So like,
No, like if her head was cut off.
I'm surprised.
I don't know.
I know, I'm surprised.
Maybe like if you went to like, this is okay. This is really dark, Josie. But like if you went to like cut her head off, maybe like as the knife is going through the part that's already sealing back up as the other part. I don't know.
Stop, that's gross.
That's really dark.
That is very graphic, Miss Bab.
Josie, ask a crazy question
What did she
Okay, now it's stuck in
about beheading May.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna leave that alone, Josie, and keep going. Okay,
me out?
we're almost done here. Okay. Okay. Miles and Jifty. I don't know who Jifty is. Okay. Miles and Jesse lifted the man in the yellow suit and carried him carefully into the house. But Tuck stood staring, and Winnie could guess what he was thinking. The constable swung her up onto his horse and directed May to her own saddle. But Winnie kept her eyes on Tuck. His face was very pale, the creases deeper than ever, and his eyes looked blank and sunken. She heard him whisper again, the gallows. And then Winnie said something she'd never said before. But the words were words she had sometimes heard and often longed to hear. They sounded strange on her own lips, and made her sit up straighter. Mr. Tuck, she said, don't worry. Everything's going to be all right.
Oh.
The constable glanced heavenward and shook his head. Then, clutching a shotgun, he climbed up behind Winnie and turned the horse toward the path. You first, he barked at May. I got to keep an eye on you. And as for you, he added grimly, speaking to Tuck, you better hope that fellow don't die on you. I'll be back soon as I can. Everything will be all right, Tuck repeated slowly. May, slumped on the back of the fat old horse, did not respond. But Winnie leaned round the constable and looked back at Tuck. You'll see, she said. And then she faced forward, sitting very straight. She was going home. But the thought of that was far from her mind. She watched the rump of the horse ahead, the swish of the coarse, dusty hairs as he moved his tail. And she watched the swaying, sagging back of the woman who rode him. Up through the dim pine trees they went, the constable's breath wheezing in her ears, and emerging from the coolness in the green, Winnie saw again the wide world spread before her, shimmering with light and possibility. Yeah, Maggie?
I kind of think she's gonna end up escaping home and going back to them.
Maggie says she predicts that Winnie's going to try and escape home and go back to the Tuck.
And
Anybody else
I
think
don't
that
doubt
might
it.
be an
I don't-
accurate prediction?
I don't doubt it because she really likes them. She thinks
Grace
they're
says she doesn't
actually-
doubt it. She really likes them. Sophie.
True.
I think on the way there, she's gonna jump off the horse.
Sophie says she thinks Winnie's just going to jump off the horse here in a
Yeah,
minute.
that's what I think.
Zeke, what do you think?
Yeah, I think she's gonna jump off the horse. You're like, no, I'm not.
What if so she could probably face her death if she was on the gallows because if she got pain, she could just stop breathing because she can stop breathing either if she gets pain. But and then she
Your body will eventually just naturally breathe on its own.
what?
If you pass out, your body will eventually start breathing on its own again if you're not dead.
That's not what she lives forever. So
But if you hold your breath in an attempt to make yourself pass out, once you pass out, your body's natural breathing is.
yeah.
You can't force yourself to stop breathing unless you actually do something that is murder to yourself. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay, Winnie saw the world spread before her. You guys are really focused on really silly, dark death questions. We're going to keep moving. Okay, but the possibilities. Winnie saw the wide world spread before her, shimmering with light and possibility. But the possibilities were different now. They did not point to what might happen to her, but what she for herself might keep from happening. For the only thing she could think of was the clear and terrible necessity. May Tuck must never go to the gallows. Whatever happened to the man in the yellow suit, May Tuck must not be hanged. Because if all they said was true, then May, even if she were the cruelest of murderers and deserved to be put to death, May Tuck would not be able to die.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope, stopping there today because you guys have a big assignment today. Okay. Too bad, so sad. You guys don't go any further on the chapters either. Okay. So stop. These are the kind of things that like are driving me nuts the past couple of days, where you guys just kind of just keep sassing and talking about, well, I want. Really? No, calm down. Okay. So instead of you guys listen carefully, answering the questions online, let's just go over the questions together because I've got a different assignment I want you to work on. Okay. I'm going to ask you just a couple of the questions. Why do you think the man in the yellow suit devoted his entire life to finding out about this family that never aged? Why did he do that? Why do you think? Grayson, why do you think he did that?
Because Niles' wife came and then she made it to where it sounds like it's true, so he wanted to make sure.
Okay, it just sounded like an interesting story. He met Miles' wife and he thought it sounded interesting. Josie, what are your thoughts on that?
Maybe he just wanted to definitely find out and wanted to sell it, just wanted to make money from the start.
Okay,
And you're frozen.
possibly. Maggie, thoughts? Okay, and I kind of talked about this a second ago when we were actually reading it. Do you think that one person has the right to decide who should live forever? Should anybody have the right? No, why not? Why not, Lily?
Because you can't control other people's lives.
Okay, you shouldn't control other people's lives. Like, you take care of you, you worry about you, and you let others, take care of themselves. All right. Do you think the Tucks are being selfish about not wanting to share the secret?
No.
No. Okay, Sean says they're trying to save everybody, which seems weird because by not giving them the spring water, you're basically saying everybody will eventually die.
Not
But
necessarily
saving them from yes, you need to be a part of the cycle of life. You live, you die, and it starts all over again. Very good, guys. Okay. Do you think that May is dangerous and deserves to be locked up in jail?
No.
She was protecting a little kid. Good. Okay. All right. I think we know about the other stuff. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We have an activity for today, and this is for a grade. So everybody needs to take it super serious. Yes, Josie.
I have a prediction.
Okay, prediction.
Okay, so it probably won't be true, but what if instead, since Winnie liked them so much, if the man in the yellow suit did die, then she would offer herself to the gallows instead of May.
Oh. Okay, possibly. All right. So here's your assignment. We've been talking about, we're going to kind of connect. I got to take this off for a second. We got to kind of connect with what we've been talking about in social studies and news reports. Yesterday, we talked about news reporters supposed to be reporting the facts. Okay. Not their opinions and their bias, but report the facts. Okay. Hang on. Never mind. This isn't for today. Never mind. Lies. No, this comes a different day. No, I don't know. Down the road. We didn't read the chapter there because it says something in the very first paragraph on here. And let me make sure I didn't assign it to you guys, because it will spoil something if I did.
No, you didn't.
I didn't assign anything to you other than the chapters.
No.
I like your mask.
Thank you.
Well, Miss Bab, you might have just signed it, but then made it to go later in
Okay.
the day. So.
Okay, yeah, this, I think this goes at the end of the book because, yeah, it talks about something that's going to happen later in the story. So never mind. I thought it went with today, but we didn't get to that part today. Okay, never mind. Well, what you can do is we're going to make an advertisement. Okay.
Teddy fritters.
This chapter, the man in the yellow suit said, oh, I don't have it on you guys. I can't see you guys. Hang on. Okay. In this chapter, the man in the yellow suit said he wants to sell the spring water. We're going to pretend that the spring water is for sale. And you need to make an advertisement for it. Okay. So he says, I'm not going to sell it to just anybody, only to the certain people who deserve it. And it will be very, very expensive, but who wouldn't give a fortune to live forever? So using that line, he plans to sell the water for a high price to an exclusive number of people. So you're going to create an advertisement for this magical water. Make sure that your ad focuses on the rich and powerful. Okay. It could be used in newspapers across the nation. Why are we not making a TV commercial about this?
They didn't have TV.
They didn't have TV back then. So this is going to be a picture ad that you would put in a newspaper because that's what they had back then. And yes. So in your ad, are you just going to be like, magic water, $1 billion?
No.
Like you need to, so think about advertisements that we see. What do we see if we see an advertisement? Like what kinds of things do we see on an ad? Lily, what are some things that you usually see in an ad?
Like you have to pretty much describe it and tell all about it.
Okay, so you describe it and tell some of the features about it. Do what? Funny is a newspaper ad funny. Commercials are funny, but a newspaper ad?
Well, they
No.
have those ones.
Fiona, what do you notice about like ads that you've seen in like a magazine or paper?
In ads, normally sometimes if you're like offering something up for sale, normally it has like a phone number so that way you can call.
Okay, so it has contact information of like where you can get it.
And it has a picture of what it is, and
Okay, so it has a picture of it. Like Lily said, it's going to talk about it, what its features and benefits are, because we want it to tell people what it does for you so that they want to buy it. Okay, hang on, let me share. Okay, hang on. Let me share my screen.
Did I just say table curtains? Yeah.
No, you're each doing your own.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so do you guys see I presented a little ad for Starbucks?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, and you guys, I don't know if you can look, so it's got a picture of Starbucks and it says, give up bad coffee, enjoy Starbucks. So they're implying that every other coffee is bad and Starbucks is the only good coffee. Hang on. Hang on. All right, here is one for Nestle's Crunch Bar back in the day. Hang on. And it says Nestle's makes the very best chocolate. Hang on. This is the ad. The secret of the Swiss. Now, back in the day, Switzerland was known for the best chocolate. Okay. So the secret of the Swiss is shared with you in all 21 Nestle chocolate products. Born in Switzerland, made in America since 1907, and enjoyed in 108 countries around the world. So they show you a picture of all this different chocolate. It looks delicious. And it's telling you that not only do people here like it, people everywhere. So it's like, if you don't eat it, well, you're a bad person. You're crazy because people everywhere think that Nestle is the best. Okay. Hang on. Let me see here.
I haven't tried Nestle.
Check out this one. This is for a candy bar called a Mars bar, and you can see there's a picture of a little girl enjoying it. She's like, it's so good. Okay. And it talks about the 3 flavor candy bar: milk chocolate, nougat, and almonds.
That's
So
good.
It sounds really good, right? It sounds like a Milky Way with nuts in it,
Yeah.
which would be delicious. Yeah. So, and you can see it tells you what it has. It has these 3 flavors, and it shows you. They don't say it's delicious, but can we infer that it's probably delicious?
Yes.
Yeah. Look at that girl's face. Definitely. Okay. Let's see what else makes a good ad.
We can't see it anymore.
You can't? Okay, hang on.
The Butterfinger commercial.
You put us on the screen.
I'm so excited. I have so many ideas.
Okay.
Baby Ruth.
Here's what I can't read it. It's so small.
I have glasses. What does where am I supposed to look?
I don't know. I can't read it. It's too small.
John, do you have binoculars?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's gone now.
Baby Ruth. A big hooray and howdy do. A tastier Baby Ruth for you. New. And it shows it just getting eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up, eat
What does
up.
that say?
New delight, bite after bite. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever had 100 grams?
Yeah, those are delicious.
Snickers.
Oh, look here. It says Baby Ruth. Friendly gifts. Fill the stockings. Decorate the table. Trim the tree. They're literally just sticking candy bars in the tree.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
So it's showing you different ways you could use the candy bar. Share the candy bar. Grayson. Yes.
No. Then on Christmas.
All right.
Where's the Snickers?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at the Twix one. That looks delicious.
Now let's go work.
That looks yum.
Yeah.
That also looks like it's newer. Like that's like the newer design.
Yeah, making me hungry.
Payday. It's almost totally nuts. So they're implying that it's like crazy good because it's nuts, but it literally is also nuts.
I really don't like payday. I tried
Then-
it.
I'm not making you eat payday, but they want to show you that if you like nuts, you're going to like a payday. Okay? All right. So, for you guys, you don't need to do the questions that are on page 1, but the news advertisement is page 2. What I would suggest is draw it on a separate piece of paper and then take a picture of it and upload it to the activity on Seesaw. Okay? And then you guys, I'm going to give you a blank piece of paper and you can write your ad out. Okay? All right. So that's what we're working on for today. Josie, yes, ma'am, question.
Can we take a picture of ourselves instead, like of the thing?
You can do whatever you want to for your ad as long as you're advertising the magical spring water.
And
I
it's
so wish
not-
I could do a commercial because there's so many things that I could say. And like, I was thinking about doing something where I have a black light over on my desk and I could like shine a black light. I could like shine a black light on it and it could like detect the magic in it.
Oh.
Yeah. But since it's not an advertisement, I can't.
Okay, Kaylin, I need to
Like,
share it with
it's
you in
not-
just a second.
A commercial. What are the
I
vocab
have a
words?
question.
You don't need to do the vocab words. You don't need to do the questions today.
Yay. No, it's just that I have a question about the commercial.
It doesn't need to. No, it's not a commercial. You're drawing a picture ad.
That's
Okay.
what I'm.
Not a commercial. You're drawing the picture ad this time.
Did they have phones in back then?
Hang on, I can't. Guys, you're gonna have to stop. I can't hear them, and I'm right in front of them. Okay. Go ahead, Kaylin. I didn't hear you.
Did they have phones back then, like old
Mhm.
ones?
No, they did not. Yeah, you can go ahead, Cam. If you're ready, you can go ahead and get off and get started.
I'm so excited. I love doing advertising.